Morning, Mark.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. A bit rude of awakening this morning, though.
Yeah, we're a bit early, viewers. If this gets, well, it's recording early. It's only just 7:10, just gone. We've been up an hour, haven't we?
Yes.
All action. You going to say anything?
Oh well, we have two wireless monitors on our alarm system, and if they run out of battery, it sets the temper alarm off. So we woke up to that. And then eventually it stopped. So I managed to get an engineer. He's coming at 8 o'clock. So we'll have to practice social distancing in the house for the first time. So that'll be interesting. But he didn't ask me one question,
No.
like,
Are you diseased?
have you had, I suspect it's probably, he was probably a rude awakening as well, because he's an engineer on call. So it cost us a fortune to do it this way, but I can't put up with that noise.
Yeah. Well, episode 54, Saturday the 16th of May 2020. Apologies, everyone, if I was a bit, I don't know if grumpy is the right word, but I just
down. You were definitely down. You were feeling down, I think, yesterday.
I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it yesterday. And I really appreciate massive amount of feedback and more people than ever, plus messages off. I mean, I wasn't suicidal or anything. I was just...
They were just checking on you to make sure that you weren't suicidal. They weren't going to take my word for it, because, I mean, at the end of the day, we do tend to pick each other up, but it is sometimes really difficult.
Yeah. Honestly, I was all right. It was just a case of, do I record this or not? Continue
you weren't at the cut the throat stage then? Oh, right.
I was running out of ideas for this, and unless I'm up for it and get some feedback and some ideas that I look forward to talking about and hearing from people about, that's the main thing. If we don't hear anything, it's a bit depressing. So that's the only reason we're doing it. Just a bit of engagement and quite touching stuff. I'll try not to cry, but some people were talking about how they've made really good friends via this. So yeah, it's.
I think you do, actually. I think this is the sort of thing that sends you out and you think about people. Let's just hope we don't get too busy to appreciate them in the future. Sometimes that's what happens, isn't it?
I'll talk about that later. But anyway.
Okay.
So I'm really pleased when somebody squeezes in between Steve Fury and Angie Crush, for want of a better phrase, to pop up and get music.
Very suggestive, Mark. Squeeze in.
Barry Royden succeeded in doing it, and then on the other hand, I was thinking, why am I so pleased? As I mentioned before, Barry's probably got more trophies than all of us put together.
He's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
I think he's moved into third overall because he got this one right from. It was David Soul, Silver Lady or Sliver Lady, I think he typed. The teacher in Tony Fulbrook pointed that out later, but I read it as Silver Lady, so that was good enough for me. David Soul was Starsky and Hutch, who were detectives, an American TV show back in the day.
Connection with the police.
With the police that we'd played the day before. So here's today's music. We want the artist, the song, and the connection to yesterday. And by the way, I did have a second lockdown haircut. I'm glad this side isn't as bad as this side. That was my fault, not Dawn's. A little bit of a patch there. Almost did a Pete Mason.
He just grabbed the clippers and just went mad, didn't you? And I went, that isn't me. You can explain that.
So it's not best, so don't take the mickey. But here's the music. You listening? Shush, Dawn, please. Yeah, I have to really keep it short to challenge them, but yeah, I reckon somebody will get that. Now, photos. I've got a few more people giving feedback and messages, so I can really go with this and show a few more people. And this one is a guy called Peter Scott, and Pete works at Lee Valley Athletics Stadium. Great athletics fan. Friend of Tunbridge AC, very positive, upbeat guy. He He came down to the Tunbridge Twilight meeting last August at my invitation to add a bit, spice up the atmosphere a little bit. And this is Pete doing his thing on that fantastic Friday night back in the end of August last year. So where we got Pete Scott? Here we go. There he is. There's Pete. Yeah, not. Can you see him, Dawn?
Yeah, I can see him. He's in his oh God, is it in his Robin suit? I'm not sure, but he's supposed to be there.
No, I think it's Mr. Incredible, isn't it?
Oh, is it Mr. Incredible? Oh, right, okay. Like, good job I wasn't observing that at the meeting.
That's Mr. Incredible with his handbag.
He lost his mic as well. It all fell apart. Oh, it was so funny. He is a lovely guy as well.
It's Mr. Incredible with his handbag, getting the crowd singing Baby Shark. You can't beat it, can you? What a combo. Well done, Pete. Hope you're right. Just a little bit on the sad note. You know, I asked you, would you, the rather questions yesterday. And I said, would you rather talk about your love life or your finances? Yeah?
Yeah, which are two subjects I don't really talk to anyone about.
No, but Pete says he doesn't have any money or a love life, so he wouldn't mind talking about either of them. And I felt a bit sad.
Oh,
bless him. With Pete, before the lockdown happened, just before, he took 2 weeks holiday to be in his house at home and catching up with stuff and having a rest. So he was at home for 2 weeks before the lockdown started. So big best wishes to Peter Scott. Okay. Lots of other feedback. I got one of the regular phone calls from Dave Adkin. He told us we should take a break if we wanted it, and I do appreciate what he's saying. It's a bit like team managing at Tunbridge Athletic Club. Sometimes you just want to have a little bit of a breather. You think about packing it all in and everything else. Oh no, please don't give up. Carry on.
I suppose in a sense it's how you feel about it, isn't it? And to be quite honest with you, I think we were just trying to keep morale up when we started this. It was just a little bit of, light-heartedness, saying we're here and we care about everybody, but obviously we can't see you. And so I think that was the reasons behind it more than anything else. So it's difficult to stop now because we still aren't out of this, isn't it? And you still feel you should be sending that same message, don't you?
Yeah, we got something to talk about. We'll talk about it. Here's us up as well.
If you start rattling on, I'm off, though.
Poor old Dave, he's all right. He's out for the count at the moment. It's only 7:15. He tells me he gets up at 10:30, has a bath, and has his breakfast, and then listens to us.
Right.
He's got 3.5 hours till he comes around and sorts himself out. But
at least we could get in the garden yesterday because it was nice and sunny. So, I mean, it's been miserable the last few days. I think the weather affects you as well, doesn't it?
It does a bit, yeah. I went for a good walk in the sun yesterday. PB by 4 minutes on a 58-minute course, which is now a 54-minute course. And Grazia, don't get me race walking. Angie, Crush, few bits and bobs. She would like to be invisible.
And I love this.
Her reason for being invisible is so she could go pole vaulting at Ashford Stadium. Now, that isn't my first thought.
But I mean, she's itching to get back, and it is true what she says. That the reason
wants to go out.
Okay, the reason people want to train is because they want to practice, and they do get rusty. And I understand that, but I don't know when the competitions are going to start. And yes, you do need to keep ticking over, but it's so difficult at the moment to think, I'm doing this training, but what am I doing this for?
Yeah. Okay. I heard all that. Well done. She also make a suggestion, something to talk about. I was talking about my book. She would like me to have extracts from the book. Well, I don't know that I can do that, but I could set everybody a challenge of, how would you deal with this as a team manager in any sport, really, where you two weeks before the event, you get an email from a parent saying they were going on holiday, but the dad and the son are prepared to change their flights if he's going to be selected for the A team. Right? And he might be selected for the A team, but he might not. And you haven't decided, and there's still 2 weeks to go. How would you react to it?
Well, it's sort of like you're asking me to react to it.
I don't know. Do you think? I think you should leave it to the viewers at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very difficult one. I have a feeling I know how to react to it, but it's not it is with compassion, but it's very difficult, isn't it? Because they're almost pressurizing you to make a decision, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. On that would you rather, which was quite popular actually. Scott came back. He would rather be 12 inches tall rather than 12 foot tall. He did actually say tall. He didn't say he'd rather be 12 inches. And he said he would like to be 12 inches tall so he could take a ride on the back of his dog, which was quite sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet, isn't it? I can imagine doing that with Oscar. He'd be like, "Oh, what? Get off!"
Yeah, yeah, and then he'd like to have the rewind button rather than the pause button and go back to 2014 when he was running decently.
Yeah, I suppose people could think about that. The reason I thought that pause, yeah, everyone pause, and you're still able to do things, so you can change the future in a sense. That's how I was thinking about it, rather than going back. Because I'm not someone who looks back. I'm always someone who tries and look forward.
Yeah, yeah. Steve Fury, really good, very obviously caring, empathetic sort of guy. He spotted that I was down in the dumps and he messaged me separately about it. I'm all right, Steve. Feeling better for hearing from you every day. Yeah, really good. He's the opposite. He wants to be 12 foot tall and invisible, a bit greedy. So so he could walk around the supermarket naked, which we were talking about. That isn't anybody who didn't see yesterday's. We did actually bring that up. That's not Steve just being a bit perverted or anything. So yeah, and
Find everything that we were talking about, which is so funny.
yeah, that's so he's also got. This is how their family works. Sounds like his wife orders all the supplies for the garden and then suggests Steve does something with it and sorts it out. So rather than just tending to a few little bits around the garden, he's got major jobs and projects on his hands. Can't relate to myself, but still.
We're quite lucky because it's all sorted, so you're okay.
Yeah.
I've only bought a few plants this year, so your bank balance should be better.
As. Yeah.
Oh, no, it's usually your bank balance when I'm spending money.
Yeah, we can mention that, I think, on the financial front. We don't have a joint bank account, do we? We keep
no.
Yeah.
I like to be sort of like the only reason we don't have joint bank accounts, I think it's more important, is if I want to buy you a present, etc., I don't have to consult you to be able to do it, and then you won't say, well, where's all this money gone, etc. Not that you do, but I mean, it's just that thing.
You just whack everything on credit card and then you hand it to me and I do the transfer to sort it out.
You just transfer the money so I can pay it off.
Keep a log and a chart of the expenditure on your credit card. I got a nice graph going.
Yeah, it's going steadily up. Yeah. Well, no, it's coming down now because it will be a lock up. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, to be fair, I do everything, around the house, etc. The things that you spend money on are, travel and hotel, bills when you're traveling with the athletes, etc. Of course, you're not doing any of that at this moment in time.
Reminds me of a good story though, and I was at a business breakfast years and years ago, and I can't remember the guy who was talking, but he was explaining that his credit card was stolen alongside his wallet, but he didn't bother reporting it because the person who'd nicked it was spending less than his wife had been spending. So it was quite.
It is that type of scenario, isn't it?
Really good to hear from Kim Cross and Simon Fraser. Again, two of our favourite people, definitely. Quite entertaining. Simon and Kim, both members of the Athletic Club, and they both enjoyed and used themselves the Would You Rather competition. I love that. Do it a lot at home, obviously having a whale of a time.
Well,
Um,
I think also with children, it does get them thinking, about life, etc. What would you rather be? And you begin
I
to
think it's that serious, Dawn. I think
no,
it's
no, no. I think you begin to understand how a child's mind works because it's amazing what they come up with.
warped. Yeah, I think something gathered from what Simon's saying. They love that. And Simon suggested we do Pointless. Oh, that's popular in their house, but I don't know quite how I do Pointless with you.
Well, I have to come out with I mean, yeah, it would be too much. I'd have to. I mean, I wouldn't get the questions right anyway.
No. See, I
And
could.
it'd be in your opinion, wouldn't it? So, and when sometimes listeners, sometimes we're not even on the same page, are we?
Because I thought I could throw something like to you, like name an Olympic 800 meters champion. You've got to go for the pointless answer, the most obscure answer.
Yeah. Well, I'd think of Rhodesia, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to be pointless, is it? So,
Yeah. I wonder what the public would say on something like that. Interesting.
yeah, don't know.
Andy Poppleton's inspired me as well. He's come up with us talking about our sliding doors moments in life. Do you understand what that is?
Yeah, the more moments that you think you'd like to go back and change because either you regret them or you think.
No, it's not quite that. It's
So
when you've been getting on the tube and you get your door stuck in the.
like the bag stuck in the tube.
Yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it?
No.
What it is?
See what I mean?
What it is it's where you get to a moment where your life could have gone one way or the other, and there's just a slight moment of circumstance affects it. So it's not you. It's luck more than anything.
Yeah, but in some respects, it's something that if you could go back, instead of taking your right path, you would take the left path and change it.
I don't think it means you're necessarily given a choice at the time. I think it's just being in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the wrong time, or something like that. But we're going to do this, but we're not going to do it today because we're going to run out of time. We've already been going 18 minutes and there's loads of feedback. But I want everyone to think about the sliding doors moment in their life, not when they got something caught in the zip or in the door.
That'd be funny.
I did do it once. It is agony. You go relate to it.
Let's not go into that. Let's not hear about that one. I've got an engineer coming in half an hour.
Thank you, young lad. Yeah, painful that was. So sliding doors moment. If everyone understands what I mean, it's where your circumstances could have been.
I have seen the film, but I mean, it was some time ago, and I'm racking my brains to. It is more circumstances, you making the right decision at the right time, isn't it? But,
no, it's not about.
It is to some degree, the right decision for you, regardless of whether you're talking about anything.
It's like these people that their alarm didn't go off, and they missed out on being involved in a atrocity, or they missed the flight and the plane went down, or and things like that. That's what I thought. Maybe it's not. Maybe. Yeah.
Have you seen the film?
I'll have to go and watch it again or somehow. Yeah.
Well, I think we might. We'll have to watch it tonight. Okay, that's a little task we'll have to get on with then. I can't remember it too much.
I've got 76 episodes of Friday Night Lights that Andy Poppleton, and remember in one of the early.
Yes.
He recommended. So Andy, I've started on that. And Dawn watched a bit. We're on episode 4 out of 76.
Yeah.
More feedback. Graham Saker said, "Keep it up. Thanks very much." He's been entertained. So thanks, Graham, for that. Keeps us going. Grazia, she's feeling that she's made loads of friends on here that she's never met, and she'd like to get everyone together for her birthday in July. I take it she's supplying the drinks, and then Hubert came from Canada, responded to that, saying what they're doing in Canada in the lockdown is if somebody's got a birthday, they're all getting in their cars, they're driving around and doing like a not a flight past, but a drive past their house with flags and whistles and things like that.
Oh.
Do you know where Grazia lives, Dawn?
Well, it must be near Pete's barn, because she goes and talks to him every day.
Woodside Road. Can you remember? Can you
Oh,
imagine?
I know where Woodside Road is. Yeah.
Imagine a cavalcade of cars going up there. It'd be
Well, I don't think we could do that, could we?
quite funny. It'd be quite funny.
I think we could. I think when Grazia came round to drop something off on my birthday, I thought we had a little discussion about having perhaps a cocktail party or something like that, just for the people who've had it. But again, it's a group, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's members the other side of the world, and my suggestion is we all get in a private jet, fly out to British Columbia, and watch Hubert Bunce put the last panel of his fence up, and all raise a glass of champagne to him. I think
Or we could just do a little drive past with flags and whistles, couldn't we?
come home without seeing him.
No, we do the drive past and then stop. Go all that way just to drive past and then go home. No, I don't think so.
Right. I think everyone can see. I had other stuff. I've got my sliding doors moments, but as I say, we've run out of time today. But I just.
I thought we could have a cocktail party and have just one in, get the cocktail and then out again. We could do it that way. Keep going. Finish up. Go on.
This struck me yesterday on a slightly serious note. An angle I'd never thought of. I was talking to my friend Pete, and it just came into my head. And I said, "Come on, Pete, tell us, what have you thought about this lockdown?" And he said, "I've quite enjoyed it. You know, it's been so relaxing. I've spent time with my wife. I haven't had to get up early and organise." He's been going to work, but it's been less stressful than ever. He's enjoyed the time at home. He's more relaxed. Hasn't been going to go down the athletic club. And I wonder whether not just that aspect, but the fact that we've all been in this like crisis, lockdown, totally different circumstances. Our brain has shifted to the most critical things in life. And whether, when there is a return to some sort of normality, will there be an underlying current of, doesn't matter, your boss gets angry, who cares, you know? Will you be less up for the challenge and doing things properly, because in the great scheme of things it doesn't matter so much? Will that affect how we operate, how we work, etc.?
I think with Pete's job, he could be a little bit more relaxed. He doesn't have to come at an early time. He could sort of like, you know, do perhaps less hours, you know, generally. I don't know. I mean, we're in a lucky situation where neither of us at work. We are busy.
So, yeah, just don't get paid for it.
We just don't get paid for it. But I mean, in my things, I mean, most of my time is taken up, like, you know, caring for my parents, making sure they're all right and things like that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about you and Pete. I'm talking about...
No. Generally, I'm thinking, what can I do to change the way I operate? And the things that I do now, are they necessary? And you do begin to think like that because of lockdown, because you think, and I agree with Pete, that it's quite nice going on the roads where there's not so much traffic around and things like that. You can get places quicker. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I suspect that if everybody looked at themselves and thought, do I really need to do that? There are quite a few things that they don't need to do.
Yeah, sure. But it's just that mentality at work. Will it be as hard-nosed or in various parts?
Well, I do think employers should be, you know, understanding with their employees. I mean, I do feel that, you know, if you're a mother, etc., they should be a little bit more flexible. I'm quite happy, you know, I quite like this job sharing thing where you get say 6 people in the office and you get 3 coming in one day, and 3 coming in the next day, etc. So that instead of working 5 days a week, they're working like 3 days a week or something like that, everyone, and the rest of the time they're at home working. That's if they can. And so that makes sense. And I as an employer would think, oh, that would be good, because then that's saving them money and it's also saving other people's money.
Yeah.
And then you begin to think, do I really need an office?
Very good. Okay, well, that'll do. Just to clarify, feedback on that, feedback on the sliding doors. Still up for other challenges, how we would make pointless work from Simon Fraser. How we find Peter Scott some finances and a love life. What else we got?
What does Peter Scott do? You got to know what the person has done. I mean, he goes and he does, like, he's in the music industry, getting the crowds going. So how do you make it? Give him a job.
Yeah, he's got a job. Don't be careful. He works at Lee Valley. Careful.
Yeah, well, that Lee Valley's closed.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he was after a job at the moment. I think he was just saying in general. But yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
See you later then.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.